Greetings, my fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered Vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And we got a fan request on Twitter to talk about the new Marvel Netflix show, Jessica Jones. And since Jack just got done watching it this week, we figured now's the perfect time to dive into it. So, first, let's get with our spoiler-free views. I fucking loved it.
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Really good show.
Really good. It's really dark. If you like Daredevil, it is slightly darker than Daredevil. And Daredevil was pretty fucking dark. It's kind of like almost like Marvel's version of a film noir. Not to a certain extent. It's mainly at the beginning of the show and the end of the show, but it kind of permeates throughout the show. Like, Jessica Jones herself is essentially the kind of like alcoholic PI you would expect to see in a film noir.
Yeah.
You know, severely damaged, life's just basically shit on them. The only thing she doesn't do is chain smoke, but I found out later that was because Disney wouldn't let them do that.
Yeah, wouldn't let her smoke, so they turned her into an alcoholic instead.
Which works.
It did.
It definitely
she
works.
Had to have, like, some sort of, like,
she needed a
addiction.
Vice.
Yeah.
Some sort of vice for her. And basically, for you don't know, the show is about a character named Jessica Jones who got her superpowers in some sort of car accident. Doesn't quite know why or how, but basically, when the show begins, she has started a private investigation firm and is basically helping basically anyone who needs something investigated, like your husband's cheating on me, or like, hey, my daughter's missing, and it's basically doing all this, but it's also dealing with a recent trauma of some character named Kilgrave, who apparently has mind control powers, and essentially took over her and, for lack of a better way of putting it, took all her agency and raped her for months on end.
Yeah, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
In every way possible.
Constantly.
And she has been dealing with the trauma from that, and she has severe PTSD as a result of that, which is also why she's become such an alcoholic. It is essentially her self-medication. And the story starts with a case leading her directly back to essentially what turns out is probably Kilgrave.
Yep.
And the story goes from there.
Yeah. And in the Marvel Universe, Kilgrave is also known as the Purple Man.
He is the Purple Man. He's played by David Tennant on the show, who is awesome.
Yeah, and this proves that if David Tennant not only play the Doctor, but play the Master.
Oh my god, he would have been a great Master, too. He would have been great. Like, he could have played Master the exact way that Master was written on the Davies run.
Yes.
And he could have played either role, and this show proves it. He is insanely charismatic to the point where you can't stop watching him, but you hate him with every fiber of your being.
Yeah, he's really hateable.
Because he is so despicably evil, and he goes above and beyond just killing people. He destroys their lives, and he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he's such a sociopath, he doesn't even realize what he's doing is wrong, even though on some level he knows that logically it is, but like...
Yeah, he doesn't feel it, he doesn't care. He
doesn't feel it at all.
It's not like... He stands in contrast to the Netflix Kingpin.
Oh, yeah.
Who is a man who realizes he's a monster, but he has this ideal that he's working on.
Yeah, like Kingpin, the narrative of Kingpin in Daredevil is essentially a man coming to terms and accepting the fact that he's got to be the monster.
Yeah.
Like, that is just who he is. He just, by the end of that season, he has embraced who he is.
Yeah.
You know, Kilgrave on this show starts off already embracing it.
Yeah, he's already the bad guy. He doesn't care.
Exactly. And it works so perfect for the story because, like, if he was really sympathetic, I think it would actually deter from it, because essentially, in my opinion, this is I Spit on Your Kilgrave.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, in many ways.
This is a rape revenge story done in the Marvel superhero universe.
Yeah.
You know, she's going to track down Kilgrave, and she's going to make him pay for what he did to her and what he did to many other women, not the least of which being a woman that she is essentially trying to get off of death row.
Yeah.
For a murder that he forced her to do.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think we might need to go into spoilers.
Yeah, I think we might just need to go into spoilers. So the way Kilgrave's powers work is he says shit and you just do it.
Yes. You were compelled to do it. You know in the back of your mind that it's happening and that you can't control yourself. And everyone in the show mentions that every fiber of their being was trying to stop themselves from doing it, but you can't. You lose all self-control and you have to do what he says exactly as he tells you to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so that means if you are told to go fuck yourself, like on Preacher,
yeah,
you have to go fuck yourself. He essentially has the same powers that what's his name does in Preacher.
Yeah, Jesse.
Yeah, that Jesse has in Preacher. But unlike Jesse, who is an anti-hero and has a conscience,
yeah,
Kilgrave does not. This is what happens when a complete villain, the devil, essentially has it.
Yeah,
you know. When they make many references to him essentially being the devil over the show.
Yeah. Not hard to see why. They really push that really hard.
And especially in the beginning of the show, Kilgrave almost comes across like a horror villain, you know?
Yeah, like he's unstoppable. Mm-hmm. Like he's a Hannibal Lecter or
and
something.
like he haunts her nightmares too.
Yeah.
You know, so she's having like violent hallucinations of him being in the room with her or like watching her or stalking her. And the horrifying truth of it is he is.
Yeah.
She is both hallucinating it and it is also happening. You know?
Yep.
Because, oh man, it is so well done. And Jessica Jones herself, the actress that plays her, does a really good job. Unlike Daredevil, I have no real connection to the Jessica Jones Alias comics. I never read them. So
yeah, me neither. It didn't.
I can't speak to it as an adaptation. I know that in the comics, the first villain is the Purple Man for the exact same reason. But as far as what they changed or what they kept, I can't speak to that. I have no idea. But as a show...
Yeah, as a show, it's great.
This is great.
Yeah, you probably heard that co-starring in this show is the Luke Cage.
Yes,
and
Luke Cage.
He's a very, very, very good interpretation of Luke Cage.
Because one thing I do know about Jessica Jones is that in the comics, she eventually becomes essentially Mrs. Luke Cage. She becomes Luke Cage's wife.
They get married.
And so Luke Cage on this show is essentially the hunky love interest of Jessica Jones, which I love the way they do it. They make Luke Cage a bartender at the beginning of the show, who, well, I don't want to spoil this much, but if you've already seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. Jessica has a connection to Luke's past, but Luke does not know this.
Yeah.
But she has a reason to keep checking in on him because of something that happened. And she starts falling for him, and he runs a bartender, which Jessica Jones, the alcoholic, falling in love with the bartender, is already great on a thematic level. But on top of that, their relationship is probably one of the best relationships in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I guess it's connected. Is it still the cinematic universe if it's on TV? I mean, this show's really cinematic.
Well, it's part of the whole continuity.
Yeah.
Like, we already know that, like, Netflix Daredevil gonna show up in Civil War.
Oh, definitely.
So...
Oh, man, that's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, and Daredevil is directly connected to Jessica Jones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not only is, what's her name shows up? God damn
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson's
she
character.
shows up reprising her role from Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
It's the, what is it, the Angel of Hell's Kitchen?
The Nightingale of
Hell's Kitchen. She shows up in this, still being the same character, the nurse, and ends up nursing Luke Cage back to health after a particularly intense fight sequence when Kilgrave has Kilgraved him.
Yeah.
And so Jessica Jones has to shoot him in the fucking face with a shotgun point blank to knock him out.
Yeah. Because the way they deal with Luke Cage's invulnerability is that his skin is super tough.
Yeah.
So you shoot him.
It feels like normal skin, but when you try to penetrate it, you can't. So it doesn't burn. It doesn't cut. It is impenetrable as far as we know.
Yeah, and so when she shoots him in the fucking bottom of the jaw to knock him out with a shotgun, it doesn't kill him, but that doesn't prevent...
It could have sent him into a coma.
Completely.
It's like getting punched in the face really fucking hard by the force of a shotgun.
Yeah, and he starts to develop like a hematoma inside that they have to fucking go
and she goes and takes him to the
out.
hospital, and the nurse is there, the Rosario Dawson, who it's a crying shame I can't remember the character's name off the top of my head, but that character is there, and she helps when the police arrive to get Luke Cage, which it is kind of indicated that not only because of that situation, that Luke Cage also has other reasons that we don't know yet about why he's hiding from the police, which I'm guessing the Luke Cage show will go into. Because when his bar blows up at one point in the show, Jessica is like, you should stay around, the cops are going to be here, they're going to have questions, and he's just like, it's not in my name, and they're like,
yeah. Well, like if they go with the original
Hey everybody, the second half of us talking about Luke Cage got a huge audio problem, so it was pretty much unusable for this video, and we sincerely apologize. But basically all we really covered was the difference between Luke Cage the comic character and Luke Cage the Netflix show character. Nothing too important, but you could always look it up on Wikipedia if you want to see the differences for yourself. Anyway, here we go, back with the Jessica Jones vlog after we discovered the glitch and kind of fixed it. Sorta. Anyway, peace out.
All right, sorry, we were having some technical difficulties.
Something was going on. Anyway, so Trish is training herself so she's not a damsel anymore, and you go into her past, like her entire past, she has essentially been a victim as a result of her mother, her overbearing mother that controlled her entire life and turned her into a movie star, and then tried to take everything that she owned. And like, there's scenes of her forcing her to throw up. There's scenes of her essentially beating her for not listening to her.
Yeah.
And there's scenes with her emotionally abusing her, and you quickly pick up that her relationship with Jessica is that Jessica was always the one who would save her.
Yeah.
You know, who would always step in and protect her from her mom. And so in a way, they're kind of like sisters, more than just best friends. They're kind of like sisters. And ironically, Kilgrave's the only one who acknowledges that in the show, that he's
the only one who acknowledges the fact that they're obviously have that type of relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes, oh man, yeah, it makes it so much more rough when he tries to go after her.
Yep. Man.
But like, so she starts training. She's just basically, enough is enough. I'm gonna take care of myself, and starts training herself. You know, and that's her evolution. Of course, this show is being not victim, but essentially being sidekick, and hopefully eventually hero herself. You know,
right?
You know, Nuke is in this show.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
I did not see that coming. Did not see that coming. That Nuke was gonna show up in this show. There's a character who's introduced as a cop who you think is just going to be a one-off, like, you know, like brainwashed cop that Jessica Jones beats up because Kilgrave brainwashed him, or mind controlled him, or whatever you want to call it. Kilgraved him, I think is what they start referring to. Because Kilgraved him, and he ends up reoccurring and starts dating Trish, and we start to learn more about his military background. He starts getting involved in the hunt for Kilgrave because he got Kilgrave, so he wants revenge too. But he starts getting a little more Punisher about it. You know, saying, like, this needs to be done quick and dirty. We need to shoot him in the head and end it. But Jessica doesn't want him dead, because if Kilgrave is killed, then there is no way to prove the innocence of the girl that is currently on trial as a result of Kilgrave, who is essentially the case that opened up the story. So she's trying to take Kilgrave alive, but this guy who's helping her wants him dead and keeps fucking things up as a result of that.
Yeah.
But even with all that, I did not expect the final reveal to be that he is going to become Nuke, and he gets the pills from some secret, like, military operation that he was involved in back in the war.
Yeah.
That apparently went sour because, you know, the pills did something, made him a little nuts. And he starts taking the pills and he goes AWOL, and then he tries to kill Jessica and Trish, and ends up successfully killing the detective that's helping Trish, or helping Jessica throughout the story.
Yep.
Which is one of those sad, like, oh man, he was literally 2 months from retirement.
Yeah.
Or like 2 years from retirement.
Yeah.
You know, you son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! He was getting too old for this shit, and you killed him.
Yep. God.
Fucking kill Murtaugh. Like,
when they finally reveal that, like, Jessica Jones got her powers from a chemical spill
Yes.
caused in a car accident. That made me realize how they were going to tie all of the Netflix universe together, because I'm like, oh, well, she's not the only one who got her fucking superpowers from a chemical spill in a car accident.
I seem to recall the first series they did for Netflix.
Yeah. Kind of
Had a hero with a similar origin story. Not the least of which, it seems like, we don't know for sure because there's seeds planted for future seasons as well as Luke Cage, that Luke Cage's origin is not only tied in with Kilgrave's, but possibly Jessica Jones's itself. Yeah. They don't go into Luke Cage's origins simply because, obviously, that is being left for the Luke Cage show to, go into. But it's obvious that there's some sort of connection there. Like, Kilgrave is looking for this one, like, thumb drive that he ends up getting that, essentially is the experiments that were done upon him in order to that gave him the powers he has. Turns out
in the comic, like, Kilgrave's just a mutant.
Yeah.
But in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there are no mutants.
Absolutely.
So,
but the thing about that is that we focus mainly in the story-wise on what happened to him and his parents who were experimenting on him and all that stuff. There's a whole reason for that they go into, but they also show that there are other kids that were being experimented on. And the thing is, the thumb drive that Kilgrave he got from Luke Cage's wife.
Yep.
Who she intended to give to Luke Cage, which indicates that there's some sort of connection between their origins.
Yeah.
Some sort of and I almost wonder if maybe one of the kids that were shown there, I don't know, that might have been Luke Cage the whole time. Who knew?
Yeah. Like in the original, it's like evil prison super soldier experiments.
Yeah. And on top of that, that agency that might have created Jessica Jones might also have, been the one that caused Daredevil and potentially the ones that funded the experiments for, what eventually became Kilgrave. But that's just speculation on my part. Yeah. The seeds are planted for that to happen, but we'll see.
Question about Luke Cage of the comic, since you were a bigger fan than I was. Was it him or Falcon where the power source was the Cosmic Cube?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, you have to double look that up.
Yeah, because I remember one of them got their power from the Cosmic Cube, and because for a while there were only 2 black superheroes in Marvel Universe.
I think that was Luke Cage, but I could be completely off. My mistake. My knowledge is failing me right now.
Yeah,
there's probably facts I got wrong in this vlog. So
hey man, I couldn't remember either.
There's so many histories of comics. It's hard to keep
I know
track of it all.
It's really hard, especially in between the comic and the cinematic universe. Where so much has changed.
Not to mention like every single adaptation that has been done of all these things. Like there's the comic Luke Cage. There's the Luke Cage on the Spider-Man show. Like and there's this new Luke Cage. So there's all these things to keep track. I'm always amazed at nerds that have the encyclopedic knowledge of all that stuff and can keep track of it.
I can't always. I get confused. The one continuity that I remember really well, is X-Men. I can keep those all separate because I'm intimate with all of them.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Like, so when people were like, oh yeah, the original Days of Future Past, it had to do with Cable, right? It's like, no, that was the Fox cartoon version of Days of Future Past. The original Days of Future Past was Kitty Pryde was sent back to the past in order to stop someone from killing somebody. And she thinks it's Wolverine, but it turns out to be Mystique, and that's one of the things that they kept in the cartoon. Except in the cartoon, she wasn't worried about Wolverine. They were worried that it was Gambit, but it was still Mystique in the end.
Yeah. There you go. Jack's X-Men knowledge.
Yeah.
One of the things I was actually really surprised at with this show is I think this is one of the first Marvel Cinematic Universe things I've seen where the entire direction and plotting of the story is culminating in essentially Jessica Jones realizing she has to kill the villain.
Yes.
There is no other option.
Yeah.
Unlike, for example, Daredevil, where Daredevil is constantly going, I could just kill him. I could just kill him and stop this. but having to stop himself.
Yeah. He has to stop himself because he believes in the law.
And then eventually in the end, putting him behind bars. In this one, she's trying to do it the legal way the whole time, but that is proving to be the option that is...
Yeah, that's what's not working.
Not going to work. Simply because of the nature of his powers.
Yeah, there are a couple of scenes where he literally walks into a police station.
Yeah.
And then walks out like nothing happened.
He can do what he wants because all he has to do is say, forget about this, and they will. All he has to do is say, delete the security footage, and they will. All he has to do is say, hey, this was all just a prank, and, it was really funny, and you're going to forget about this in a couple days. They will.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to press charges.
No, you're not going to press charges. So how do you, A, put him on trial, B, get a jury to convict him if he himself can just tell the jury that he's innocent, and they'll
believe him. Yeah.
How do you do that? And everything she tries along the way just completely falls apart because at the end of the day, all he has to do is just tell one person one thing, and it'll completely throw off the plan.
Yeah.
All he has to do is tell one person to cut this wire. And he's also on top of that really smart and manipulative even without his powers. So there are times where he manipulates a situation and gets everything he wants without telling anyone what to do.
Yep.
There's a whole scene where she's trying to get him to do his powers and catch it on camera, and he doesn't, and he has full control of the situation and her despite that, because he manages to manipulate the situation to where she beats him senseless, and now he's sympathetic.
Yeah, now he looks innocent.
Now it's a tape of a poor guy just getting beaten up by this superpower girl. He is just a manipulative jackass, and you cannot wait for Jessica Jones to get her hands on him finally for really reals.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say that claim that the story is poorly paced, but I heard the same thing from people about Daredevil, and I realized what it is. It's not that either show are poorly paced. They're perfectly paced. They're just slow burns, which build and build.
Well,
and
yeah,
build.
I mean, it's 6 hours.
It's a show.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. It can't be action-packed from start to finish. It's not a action movie. It's a television show. It's gotta spread out. It's gotta build and expand. But what I realize what it is that with both this and Daredevil, if you don't care about the side characters... For example, in Daredevil, if you don't care about Foggy or Karen...
How do you not care about Foggy and Karen?
I don't know, but there are people who don't.
All right. I'll accept the wretched truth.
But if you don't care about any of those three characters, then any time it is dealing with their subplots, you think the story's dragging. Because it's not Fisk or Daredevil. In this case, with Jessica Jones, if the story is following Hogarth the lawyer... who is a lawyer that Jessica Jones works with and has a kind of love-hate
played by Trinity from The Matrix.
Yes. Yeah. Carrie-Anne Moss is great in this.
Just turning that one character into a woman made all the difference.
And having this whole, lesbian, there's so many...
Lesbian love triangle, divorce.
Yeah.
With the scumbag, the real scumbag lawyer
that
being
fucking
a woman.
Beautiful,
that was amazing.
That fucking scene where the woman that she's been cheating on, that she's been cheating with, on her wife with, everything's gone out of hand. Her whole life's falling apart. Her wife has the upper hand in the divorce. She might lose everything. The wife has actual evidence that she tampered with the jury at one point, so she could destroy her career if she doesn't get her way. And things are just falling apart, and all her cases are in disarray. Especially the one that she is the one who's defending the girl that Jessica Jones is trying to get off.
Yeah.
And that scene where the girlfriend is basically egging her on and I didn't fall in love with you because you're a pushover.
Yeah.
I fell in love with you because you're powerful. You're strong. You don't let anyone stand in your way. Deal with it.
Yeah,
Solve the situation. If you do that, if you destroy your enemies like the woman I love, then I'm in. I I fucking love that scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
That scene was great because that's the kind of scene you normally don't see with two women. That is
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I've never seen that dynamic done with all women.
Yeah. And it was done beautifully. And Carrie-Anne Moss and every actress in that triangle were fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, so you believe all of them. And you feel so bad for her wife. To the point where you're actually kind of rooting for her to win that case.
Yeah.
You know?
Oof.
Oh, yeah. This show is bloody. Bloody as fuck. Jesus Christ, it's bloody.
Yeah, there's a lot of dismemberment.
Fucking Kilgrave has people killed in some of the most awful ways. Has a daughter kill her mother and father in the first episode, just cold blood. There's a point where he has a guy has his arms taken off and thrown into a fucking
just grinding them up in the fucking garbage disposal. Yeah.
There's minor things like he has a guy throw.
And he's still alive. He just has none of his arms.
He has people like try to hang themselves. You know.
Yep.
You know he has a guy throw a scalding hot cup of coffee in his face, and he has a guy fucking impale himself like fucking the Dead Zone style on some shears. Which that scene was one of those like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't believe I watched that on a show, and then you remember it's Netflix, it's internet. They don't have to worry.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about that kind of thing.
No, they can do that. They could make it X-rated and it would be no problem. Like,
yeah. The only thing stopping them is the parent corporation and Netflix is not stopping them.
Yeah.
You know, so
and Disney is essentially Netflix show, so Disney's involvement is minimal at best, and it's mainly Marvel that's handling them. But when Disney steps in, it's things like, oh, we can't have our hero smoking. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll make him an alcoholic. Okay, we'll go with that. Like, it's
yeah.
Like, and in the normal circumstance, the alcoholic thing wouldn't go through. You know.
Yeah, and you know, you got to remember, Disney is the company that digitally removed every photo from when Walt Disney had a cigarette in his hand. So when you see pictures of Disney pointing at things, he's got two fingers out. But turns out the reason he's doing that isn't because, oh, that's just how he did it. No, there's a cigarette there that's been digitally removed.
So it wasn't the actual like Universal Point thing, Disney Point? Like they actually digitally removed it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah. He actually has a cigarette.
That's funny.
Tony told me that actually.
That's funny.
It's fucked up. You're
funny.
Like, come on. Like that man smoked like a chimney.
Oh, I believe it. It would be the Madman days.
Yeah. He was one of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he's one of those guys. He just did animation. He just did kid shit. You know?
I believe it. And personally, I like the side characters in the show.
Oh, fuck
Hogarth is a great character.
Hogarth's great. Like, she's a complete bitch.
Absolutely.
But really, the funny thing is you keep you're watching her having to deal with Hogarth, and she is not a good guy, but she's not really a villain either.
Yeah.
She's just a bad person.
Oh man. I don't know where she would
She could be the female equivalent of Kilgrave if she had that power.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a very obvious, like, one of the things she kind of wants to harness that power at a certain point, which is why Kilgrave's aborted baby, which is a plot point that I'm going to let you discover for yourself, she tries to take and harness at one point, which ends up fucking everyone over.
Oh, yeah. Fucks everyone over big time.
I also like... is it Malcolm? Is that his name? The
Malcolm, the guy that lives on her floor.
Yeah.
With the side fro.
The bushy afro hair.
Yeah, that's Malcolm.
Yeah. She has a neighbor, Malcolm, who is kind of introduced as a bit of a spacey.
He's basically the crackhead on her floor to begin with.
Absolutely, and as the story goes on, you learn much more about him, and it turns out he's not all that he seems.
Yeah.
And that character grew to become one of my favorite characters on the show. Like,
yeah, because he's the closest thing to a, like, honestly nice person.
Yeah, it's like she says to him, like, you help people, that's your superpower, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and he wants to be a social worker, which makes his entire fate, like, as that show starts, like, so tragic. You know, what happened to him that led him to where he is when that show begins.
Yeah, I love him meeting Rosario Dawson's character.
Yes. Yes, and they both have this whole exchange about being non-superpowered people surrounded by superpowered people and how important they are to the equation too.
Yeah.
I love that whole like, so we're psychics? I'm no one's psychic.
Yeah. No. But yeah, I like how, like, halfway through this show, there is a moment where you, as a Marvel fan, are going to be like, why isn't she dealing with Matt Murdock? This shit is absolutely up Matt Murdock's alley.
Matt Murdock would have been a better lawyer to deal with than fucking Hogarth. Then again, Hogarth's pull and power did help on occasion.
Yeah, it did. But it's one of those things where you're like, well, look, we can't have it all woven together neatly to start with. But, like, I guarantee in the second season, she is just going to straight up meet Matt Murdock.
Well, I'm hoping
if not Daredevil.
I am hoping there is a point where, like, Daredevil and Hogarth, cross-examining each other.
Oh, fuck, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
They're trying the same case, and that, like, ties the story. That'd be great.
Fuck it, you could even, I'd even be really cool with one of those scenes where Hogarth is like, who is it? Who are we going up against? Matt Murdock. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. If he's defending it, forget it. I'm not going up against Matt. Why are you afraid of Matt Murdock? Look, I can't explain it, but for some reason, I always feel like he knows when I'm lying.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. So I guess we were kind of going off the beaten path here.
One point. Last thing I wanted to bring up.
Sure.
There was one major disappointment I had with the show. Disappointment.
That's right.
That
I had the same one.
Yeah, which is by the end of the show, it looks like they are going to go full on Purple Man, meaning it's going to be David Tennant and purple makeup, and they backed out.
Yeah.
They backed out.
Yeah. He injects himself with this serum that essentially is supposed to enhance his powers. It is essentially a serum that's derived from his unborn fetus, which is essentially a more evolved version of himself.
Yeah.
In terms of powers, and he tricks a scientist, his dad, actually.
Yeah.
To derive a serum in order to enhance his powers, and he does. He enhances it to the point where he doesn't even have to be in the room with you anymore.
Yeah, you can just... Yeah, in the beginning, the limitation is you have to be within a certain radius near him.
Yeah, and it only lasts 12 hours.
Yeah, by the end of it, you just have to hear his voice, meaning he can call you on the phone.
Yeah, as long as he's within a radius of you when he does that.
Yeah.
You know, so like when he does the intercom in the hospital, he is in the hospital, and as long as he's within the radius of the hospital,
yeah,
you know, it doesn't matter where he is as long as he's...
Yeah. Like he can't call you. Like, I think it's like a mile, half a mile or something.
Yeah, it gets really
by
big.
the end of it, it's a pretty big radius.
So he injects himself with this thing, and when the serum starts to take over him, his veins start to pop out, and his skin starts to turn a little purple, and then it cuts away. But then when it comes back to him, he's just normal Kilgrave.
Yeah.
And both Jack and I have the same response where we're just like, wait, hold on. He was turning purple there. Why didn't you just make him go full Purple Man? It would have been essentially for the last 20 minutes, but that would have been fine with me.
Yeah, no, it would have been perfect. You know, like, I love when comic books do stupid, cheesy shit like that. Yeah. Like, oh, now he's the Purple Man. You're like, yeah!
To me, it would have been essentially the equivalent of if Daredevil had not had him don the suit at the end. You know?
Exactly.
You know,
like, why wouldn't he be in the Daredevil suit?
Like Jessica Jones not being in her costume is fine with me, because I believe in the comics she only sometimes wore the costume.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the time she was just in her street clothes, so it didn't really bother me. But Purple Man being purple was kind of like the one trait that character
it's the one thing he's got. And even though David Tennant adds a lot more to him,
definitely.
Was like, I was really hoping that at least by the last shot that would have happened. Yeah. You know, because
also,
they kind of cock teased us.
Yeah. Because he's like does a shot, he's looking up, he's like, oh my god, and then you start seeing the purple take over, and you're like, oh, and then it's like blue balls, you know? Like,
and I was like, oh, come on, man.
You wussed out in the last second. It is the one problem with the show. It is still a great ending despite that.
Oh yeah, everything despite that, but if you want, hey, what is the thing about the show you didn't like? He should have actually been purple in the last scene.
Most definitely. Which on the subject of that, if you're one of those people who thinks that Marvel has a villain problem because the cinematic villains aren't, like, super memorable like The Dark Knight's Joker or something, you need to start watching these Netflix shows, because, like, fucking Wilson Fisk and fucking Kilgrave are probably the best written villains of the Marvel universe.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They are fantastic villains, and I cannot wait for the second season of either of those shows. And I can't wait for Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
Which one are we getting first?
We're getting Luke Cage next.
Luke Cage happens next.
Well, I'm guessing next year we're probably going to get season 2 of Daredevil.
Do we know which one's airing first? Is it going to be Daredevil 2 or Luke Cage 1?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, we'll
I don't know if we have an air date for anything yet.
Got it. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Oh man, they're putting the Punisher in Daredevil.
Yeah. Can't wait for the Punisher.
Punisher used the right way as the antithesis of Daredevil.
Yeah, as Daredevil's foil. He works really well as Daredevil's foil.
Yeah. Frank Castle by himself is kind of a boring character that we've seen a million times in movies done better.
That's who he's supposed to be. He's like, oh, hey, people like this type of character. Let's just make one. And that's why I was always like, why are you making a Punisher movie? Like, we made that movie a million times.
Absolutely. Which
oh no. Let's, oh god, what was that called? Was it not Heavy Rain, but, Black Rain?
Black Rain.
Yeah, it's like, oh hey, yeah, let's Black Rain it. So when they did that first Punisher movie, I was like, well, alright, so you basically did Black Rain, but shitty. I know why you did it, because that is the Punisher, but it blows.
Yeah.
That's a movie, it just lacks something.
So Punisher, to me, has always been best when he is bouncing off Daredevil, who is essentially his vigilante counterpoint. You know?
Yeah.
Daredevil being very lawful.
Yeah, Daredevil believes in the law.
You know, and Frank has given up on it. Which makes them perfect foils for one another.
And it's also the perfect thing because one is a lawyer, one is an ex-cop.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. One is a defense attorney.
Yeah.
So one defends people and the other one puts people behind bars.
Yeah. So that dynamic always worked really well.
Absolutely. Jessica Jones is a fantastic show. If you like really Daredevil, if you like the Marvel Universe, if you just want a kick-ass show with a kick-ass female lead, kicking ass, Jessica Jones, highly recommend.
Pull up a chair, deep in the crypt, from a blood-red chalice you must take a sip. Sit right back for a flick, see gore and entrails and slimy ink. Welcome, you go.